So we run a sales company, so we said, what we sell, how can we apply sales skills and stuff that you do face-to-face into the internet? And that's pretty much what Achieve Success does. We take face-to-face selling skills and apply them in the internet. And one of the key things that you need to build online with potential buyers is the same as when you're selling face-to-face, is trust. Okay? But how do you build trust? So that's going to be kind of the theme for the next few minutes. How do we build trust on the internet? Right? And there are a number of things. I'll give you a handout with a checklist that you can take away and just think about your own websites. And secondly, if you go to, there's a link on there, there's a free report that you can download which will give you 10 things that you can do to your website to change it into a money-making machine rather than just a brochure, because that's typically how most websites are designed. They're just a brochure of who we are. Right? So that's the first thing that often needs to change on people's websites. It doesn't need to be about you, right? It needs to be about your customer. So get a big, bold, brash promise about what your business will do, because when somebody comes to your website, so you get all this traffic coming in, when they view it, they're going to make a decision within about 7 seconds, in the same way that we make a decision on personalities within 7 to 10 seconds when we meet somebody first time. And sometimes that's psychological, but it's the same thing happens on the website. When they come there, if they've looked at other sites, they're looking for something different. So first of all, it's just the message. What does the customer get? What's the bottom line benefit that the customer will get from visiting your website? So forget about you and your standards, no disrespect, but we see a lot of that on websites. A lot about we've been in business for 35 years or since the turn of the century with we are the number one. So lose that word about you, your company, and change it into you, your customer. Right? That's one of the first things you can do. It's a totally different visual than the customer sees when they visit your site. The other thing is they're only visiting your site for the first time, and quite often, or if they are visiting it for the first time, quite often they're very early in what we call a sales cycle. So if you think, and come back to selling, I'm buying a television. Before I go into Comet or go to Amazon and buy the exact model that I want and do my price check with Price Checker online or whatever they're called, the first thing I'll do is research widescreen televisions. What does that 1020p thing mean? How many sockets do I need and why? We tend to research first. If you engage somebody, and it's the same when we buy a product, we'll think about what we want and we'll do some research, then we'll contact a few companies like web designers, and then we'll get some quotes, and then eventually we're here. Most people engage people in the sales cycle online at this point here. This is what we have to offer you if that is what you are now looking for. If you can engage people here, you start to build trust, because you actually can start to help educate them in making their business decision or their purchasing decision or whatever it might be. See the difference? Yeah? That's yes? Yes. That's no. That's yes, Brian. Okay, so engage earlier. So how do you build immediate trust with somebody who comes to your website for the first time, who's potentially just researching solicitors in a particular area? Right? So you've driven all your traffic and you've optimized your site to get that traffic. Well, one of the best things you can do is give something away. Right? Something of significant value. People go, yeah, but I don't want to give that away. That's what I charge for. But telling people what they can do as opposed to how to do it is two different things. So if somebody is looking for business coaching, for example, I'm just trying to think of some examples around the table here, or marketing optimization or whatever it might be, or think of your own business, what could I give somebody free immediately right now that would be of real value to them, that would start to build some of this trust and a bit of relationship and get to think about us next time when they start work their way through this sales cycle? Is it 10 things that you need to look for when picking a business coach? There's 5 holes that companies fall into when it comes to debt collection, trying to do it themselves. Anything like that that starts to educate your customer. Right? Make sense? Right? You've now offered some value, you start to build some trust and rapport. But don't give it away for free. Oh no. What might we give it to them in return for? An email address. Right? Email is still a killer, and having an opt-in, what we call an opt-in, where somebody has to give you their email address on your website, is still probably the holy grail of internet marketing and selling online. Have an opt-in, right? But do not have one that says, join our newsletter. Why not? Well, why? Right? So many people will see that on their website, join our newsletter, but there's no reason to join our newsletter. There's no value in this, obvious value of joining a newsletter. There's no obvious benefits that comes from joining that newsletter. And people today are so precious about giving away their email address because, you know, fear of spam and all those sorts of things, that there's got to be a very compelling reason why. That will come from value. If you then get their email address, now you can start what we call a sequential conversation. Right? Selling is usually a conversation. What are you looking for? This is what we do. What have you tried before? What are you trying to, you know, what's your budget? You have all these kind of conversations. Now you can create what we call a sequential conversation or a sequential marketing campaign rather than just this one-off, here's our website and this is who we are, the end of the sales cycle stuff. Now you can start to actually create a bit of a conversation. This is why things like blogs, we talked about all that social media that's out there, Twitter. That's why these things are becoming so important in business, because it enables you to have a conversation with your prospective customer, not the buyer, prospective customer. So by giving stuff away, it enables you to do that. In fact, you can ask questions of your customers. What would you look for if you were looking for a debt collection company? What would be the 3 top things? Get them to fill in a survey, start to create interaction, a two-way conversation. They then tell you what they look for, and then in your marketing campaign, you can do a product launch, which I alluded to earlier, and you can actually say, next month we're launching a whole new service that will address A, B, and C for people. And they go, I don't know, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And it's because you've engaged them in a conversation. So it's selling, and that's what we do. So people say, do we do websites? I go, no, not really. Do you SEO? No, yeah, no, not really. It's about online sales optimization. That's what we do. So these are things that you can apply to your own site. One last thing, because bear time, is video. Right? Video, and this is why we're videoing it today, video is kind of crushing all selling online at the moment. And it's so simple and easy to do today, and you don't need lots of big fancy cameras and lots of expensive equipment. We've been through all that. We used to own our own green screen studio and all the cameras and all the editing equipment and everything, thousands of quid worth of stuff to create all this video for some of our clients and things that we were doing. And today we do it all on an iMac and an HD camera. So get some video on your website, and particularly if you can give away something in video, then that has even more value. Get our 3-part video training course, 8-minute bite-sized videos on how to do something by just giving us your email address now, immediately delivered to you, and you can start learning and take advantage of this value in your business today. Right? So this also creates personality. And even if you're not good in front of the camera, you can use actors, should you want to, but video doesn't have to be what we call full motion video. You can do some really great video production now using animation and graphics and those sorts of things with music and voiceover. And they're no different to multi-million-pound TV advertising campaigns, but now you can put them on your own website for for pounds, literally hundreds of pounds. And you can use that to go away. And that, obviously, if it's you, right, that's in the video as well, I've got a bit of a big eye there, a bit like one of those Specsavers adverts. If it's you, then again it relates to building trust. They start to see who the individual is now behind this company. And people buy from people. Anybody in business or sales will tell you that people buy from people, so get the person out there. And then this, with all this stuff here, can be distributed all over the web, and it's one of the greatest traffic sources currently out there. So if you can create video, get it into YouTube and backlink it and embed it on your website, and some of this stuff isn't hard to do, and we'll give you some clues on in this report, and also we're creating some training programs, coming back to your point of, you know, what things can we offer people who are members of this group. It's really how to optimize your site for selling. And it's not about the traffic in. The traffic in is useless if the site's no good. It's not about the site because it's no good if there's no back end. And it's also one of the first questions we'll ask our customers are, what's the lifetime value of a client? We go, don't know. I thought you were a web company. No, forget that. Let's start with what's the lifetime value of your customer. Because the lifetime value of the customer is how you actually dictate how much you invest in all this stuff. Because if there isn't a big ROI and we can't demonstrate that finance for our customers, then we don't do it. So think about that. Who's your customer? Then think about your whole sales cycle. How would you do it face-to-face? And how could you apply that similar process online? Does that help?
Thank you.
All right, and you.